and we're going to introduce the Sustainable, who is Christina. Christina has worked on a blog for the past few years, helping consumers distinguish between brands that are sustainable and brands that are not. You see a picture here of Christina from our last fashion show. She also modeled for us, and she's wearing a Decker dress, which is probably one of my favorite Decker dresses. So with that being said, I'm going to open the floor up to Christina, and it looks like you're already unmuted. Christina, can you hear me?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, guys, my name's Christina. It's so nice to see all of you today. I personally appreciate you guys taking time. I feel like Saturdays are so crucial right now, just to kind of rest and relax, from working from home and things like that. So it's great to be here. Just a little bit of background about my journey and like why I'm even passionate about this. Just with regard to fashion. So I used to work at Lilly Pulitzer in their marketing department. And I was like a little intern, and I remember getting this Excel spreadsheet in front of me. And I'm like, what is this? And it was literally a list of hundreds, maybe even up to 1,000 of different pieces of garments that Lilly Pulitzer sold. And on that spreadsheet, it had linked to it all of the different factories that garment came from. It had the cost that it cost to produce, basically, and then it had next to it essentially what Lilly sold it for. And me being exposed to this for the first time, I was like, oh my God, I always thought fashion brands just worked with one factory. I don't think that I realized how big of a gap there is in terms of like the profits that are made. And just started to like, my own brain started spinning. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, why didn't I know any of this before? And it's so blind to the average consumer. So that's kind of where I started my journey. I just started to ask a lot of questions. And then I thought about this term called Sustainable, which is basically a sustainable millennial. And so I consider myself one. A lot of you guys out there, a lot of you guys on the calls might consider yourself sustainabilis in that regard. And I kind of just feel like as part of a sustainable lifestyle, we really need to understand and have that innate, question pop up in our head when we're considering a purchase. Where is it coming from? What is it made of? And what's its impact? And so those are kind of three things that I consider. And for the sake of today, I can kind of just walk you guys through like what I specifically look for, and hopefully it can spark ideas for you guys, or you might say, yeah, I do that too. Like, that's awesome. But I'll kind of just start out by saying, like, I look for whatever the garment is made of, if we'll stay, on the fashion theme today, and where it comes from and how those workers are treated. So a couple of different themes there. I just got this shirt for my birthday last week. It's from Everlane, which they're known for being like radically transparent. And I took a look at the tag, and where we usually just see, China, Turkey, just the country, it actually says the specific factory that it's made of. So I'm like, okay, I see that it's made from, I think it's like the Nanchang factory. And I always use a rule. Can I learn more about this factory or this standard that the brand has in place within 2 to 3 clicks of going onto their website? So I literally just did the test before this call. I went to everlane.com, I went to About section, clicked on factories, boom. I was there, could see a full list of like all of their factories. I scrolled down, I saw the one that matched the tags, and instantly I could see that, okay, wow, this factory literally has a playground outside, aerobic machines. They have huge windows you can see that let in a lot of natural light. Their building is LEED certified, energy efficient. They have a test garden that they kind of think about new ways to manufacture the silk before they expand it to ensure that like they know all the impacts. So Everlane passed the test, great job, could find all that info super easily. And they're really great, again, at like, I'd say more so on like understanding the factory side of things. For me, not only, of course, is like workers' health so important, but I have a special interest in like the materials. So for my whole life, pretty much, I just kind of saw like spandex, elastane, rayon, you know, like what most clothes are made of, you know, that are widely accessible to us as consumers. And I started to think, okay, what are those? I know that like a lot of them come from plastic. What's the impact? And it sounds kind of corny, but you can find stuff out very quickly on Google. And so the more you take time to like Google, hey, how long does this take to biodegrade? All of a sudden those become heuristics in your mind. And then you look at tags when you're shopping, you're like, oh my God, okay, polyester. I know that that's bad. I can now shift away, look more towards like wool, hemp, more sustainable and biodegradable materials. I think that a brand that does like the best job with this is, I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with United by Blue. They are a company local to Philadelphia, and I always look at their tags, and although, you know, some say recycled polyester, things along those lines, you can go to their website, again, doing the 2 to 3 click rule. I can instantly see a list of not only their ingredients, I guess materials would be the right word, and you can click in and say, oh, okay, wow, this is actually, their buttons are made from this tree from South America that is considered renewable. Because they produce so much and they yield so much more than, you know, the traditional way to make a button and things like that. And so, I don't know, I think that there are resources out there. If you can get to them in a couple of clicks on a website, that to me says, hey, this brand is proud of what they're doing and they want to communicate it. H&M's website, complete maze. Like, I was on there for like 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, this was just so confusing. I finally got to like their standard of ethics, and it's basically just saying like, you must comply with the law and regulations in that country. And like, there wasn't much meat to it. So as a consumer, just the more that you start to look into these things, it'll be pretty black and white. And yeah, I'm just trying to think. And then there's also labels. So for me, I saw fair trade certified on like Patagonia's clothing, and I was like, okay, in my brain, like, that seems good, you know, but then I'm like, wait, do I actually even know what that means? And again, that's kind of just takes a couple of minutes. Go on Patagonia's website. They made it really easy to understand that they, you know, set up a fund for their workers directly overseas or at their factories. And the workers essentially can vote on how that fund is spent. So it's like a democratic system. You can get a cash bonus, they can buy new computers, they can set up a daycare center. So it took me a couple minutes, but yeah, hopefully those can kind of help you guys and like inspire just ways to do a really quick investigation again and again to start developing and naturally learning how to look at things from a transparency perspective.